Gus Global Services. I come with almost 15 years of experience in marketing. I started out from media houses. I was with Make My Trip for a very long time, and now I'm with Gus. And joining me today is Deepika. Deepika is another seasoned marketing professional with over 15 years of experience in marketing, leading brands like India Today, Cox and Kings, Kingfisher Airlines. And I think that was her turning point when she decided now it's time for me to do something of my own. And she transitioned her career to empowering individuals to be the best versions of themselves, both personally and professionally. Welcome, Deepika, and thank you for joining us. And can you give us a little tidbit of why you decided to transition before I actually walk everybody through the agenda?
Sure. I actually love telling that story. But firstly, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really looking forward to this session because this is a topic very close to my heart. And very quickly, I've been in marketing, like you said, for many years now. And in 2012, I was working with Kingfisher Airlines. And when that folded up, I thought I really didn't want to, go look for another job. I thought it was an opportunity to try something of my own. But like a lot of people, I didn't know what that my own was. I'll be very honest with you. I kind of floundered a little. I took a year or so to figure out what I wanted to do. And I first started with, an event management agency for corporates. We used to do a lot of internal events, team building, etc. But I realized very quickly that that was not something I really wanted to do. And I really love to speak. I've always been a speaker and a debater in school, college, etc. So I thought I wanted to develop a few workshops and speaking, like keynotes around stuff that I think I know very well, which is executive presence, communication skills. So I developed a few workshops. I went back to corporates and then slowly I started from there. And it's been about 8, 9 years or so. I speak for a living. I train people on impactful presence. And I think I'm one of those people who has really found her calling. I've kind of stumbled upon it. I love what I do. And this is what I do now. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Deepika. All right, now let me just quickly walk through the agenda for today's webinar. So there are three key topics that we'll be covering. One is about upskilling in today's market. The second will be around reigniting your career post a break. And the third would be selecting the right kind of upskilling courses or degrees that you should pick for your career progression. Now, there's something I want to show you before we get started. Right. So once we had our registrations rolling in for this webinar, we decided let's do a quick survey with our listeners to understand what is it that they're looking for out of this session. So, as the slide says, what women want. So, this is what our listeners want today. The biggest pie was almost 27% was around how to upskill. This entire upskilling that has really taken on the world. So how do the women upskill? And for that matter, I'm sure there are a number of men who are joining us today, and I thank you. And I extend my gratitude to them for joining. Most of the questions have been around 27%, how to upskill at work. The other 19% is around, obviously, how to actually rejoin after a break, and then getting a promotion and a couple of other issues are top of the mind of the people who are joining today. So I think this will also help us keep the conversation in this area where we know what they want to hear. And in this context, let me also quickly show you guys one report that's very interesting. This is what Indian women feel about their career growth. And these numbers are staggering, right? According to the LinkedIn Opportunity Index report, 85% of women report that they are missing out on promotions and raises because of the gender gap. 1% of the Indian women believe that managing family responsibilities has negatively impacted their career growth. And these numbers are definitely concerning. So, Deepika, I think this is one of the first questions that I want to ask you. What are the key areas that you advise individuals to focus on to ensure their continued value to their organization?
Very, very good point. And the answer is not easy. There are multiple things that you need to do. And if you were to refer to your chart earlier, upskilling is one, and what I see happens is, and this is true a lot for women, also for men sometimes. For us, gathering knowledge is something that we stop doing when we leave structured learning. College kar liya, PG kar liya, uske baad, we think abhi job hai and this is it. And whatever trainings the organization is getting you to do, we are happy to do that. In fact, I see a lot of people, because I am a learning facilitator, I see a lot of people approach that also with a lot of, abhi ye kyun karna hai? Why do I have to attend this training session? So one major thing is continue to learn, because the world is also changing very fast nowadays. And when I say continue to learn, I don't mean just take courses, which is very good. Nowadays you have a lot of courses, there are certificate courses, there are all kinds of courses, but you also continue to learn from the environment around you: podcasts, YouTube channels, books, people, take mentoring. There is so much you can do to continue to learn, so that you continue to keep growing as a person and as a professional, right? The other thing I would say is, when I say continue to learn, I mean continue to learn in two spheres. One is your domain skills, very important. Agar you're in marketing, you will continue to learn new things about marketing, because like I said, things will keep changing. New things will come out, so you have to keep learning about your domain. You should also focus on behavioral skills. This is something we totally neglect. Communication skills, presentation skills, how to negotiate. Because ultimately, all the work that we do, particularly when you're growing and you get to mid and senior management, everything is about getting work done or interacting with stakeholders. Aapko, you have to tell people about your new ideas, you have to convince people about new ideas, you have to negotiate, you have to give deadlines to people, you have to delegate. So everything is about working with people and collaborating. And this is where your behavioral skills come into place, which is your communication skills, your presentation skills, how you talk, how you present yourself, how you walk, your first impressions. So look for courses or look for interesting sessions that you can take on that, and continue to learn that as well. So do both. Do your domain skills also, and do your behavioral skills also, right? The other thing I would say is, again, in the case of women, and I'm combining both of I'm trying to sort of combine both of these together. One is upskilling. The other is speak up, ask. So this missed races, promotions because of gender, I believe that, if you believe in your talent and you believe in your skill, be out there and ask. So if you think you've done a good job, you deserve a certain project, you deserve to work on a certain project, go out and say it. So everywhere you feel there is a gap between the work that you're doing and what you're getting, ask. Say that, this is something that I expect, so ask, ask, ask. The third thing I would say is, when you say believe family responsibilities hinder career growth, first of all, to look for look for a village to help you, because it's not possible to do the whole thing together, right? You can't. So wherever you can get help, ask for help. You can get help from your family, ask. You can get help from your from your friends, ask. You can get help at work, ask. And learn to prioritize that right now, at this point, I will give my 100% attention to my work, and then maybe at some other point I will give my 100% attention to something else. So integrate your life in such a manner that you ask for help, but you also learn to prioritize what is important for me at this point of time. So I was listening to Apurva Purohit, who was at one point on the board of Jagran, and she said something very interesting. She said that, the difference between women who are successful and women who are not is simply that the successful women ask for help. It is as simple as that. So I really believe in that. So if you were to, look at both 85% and 71%, the basics are the same. Keep upskilling yourself, keep asking for help, learn to prioritize your life, because there will be pulls from your family also. And it's just there. It's something that we live with, so it's not going to go away. You will get married, your husband will move, there will be children, there will be aged parents, there will be shadis in the house, and there'll be a lot of pull. But you have to learn to prioritize and you have to learn to ask for help. That is what I would say.
I think, Deepika, here one thing that I think tends to hinder a lot of women is self-doubt.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people talk about imposter syndrome in leadership and entrepreneurship. I think it applies to women, and
Yeah.
largely to women, because they might be giving it their best. They might be doing 120%, maybe even better than their peers. But they will always have this little self-doubt, one, and they'll probably have some guilt of family, household, children on the other side. So how do they actually overcome that, the self doubt, to ask, right, to ask for help, or to ask for that project, or to ask for that promotion?
It's very difficult. And you're completely right when you say that women seem to suffer from this more. This whole not believing in yourself and not believing in your skills and your talents also sometimes. I have seen women do this. If they do a good job and somebody compliments them, they would brush it off, you know. So I have seen that also happen. um, Two things I would say here. One is that be very aware of who you are and what you bring to the table, and do not be apologetic about it at all. And this is an exercise that I ask everybody I mentor and everybody I coach and everybody I teach to do. Every 3 months, do an audit of your skills and what you have achieved. Because your imposter syndrome will always stay at the back of your mind. You have to tell that imposter syndrome to go away. So what you need to do is you need to tell yourself, what is it that I did well? So put your skills on a piece of paper, put your achievements on a piece of paper. Every 3 months, do this little audit. I am good at this. I have reskilled myself in this, and this is what I have achieved. So tell those stories to yourself to overcome imposter syndrome. Can you give me just a second, please? There's someone at my door. I'm really sorry about this. Just 1 second.
No worries, Deepika. I think it happens. So in the meantime, let me welcome everybody who's joined in. We've already started our conversation around breaking barriers through online education. So I'm joined here with Deepika. She is an industry veteran in marketing for a good 15 years, and then she turned into becoming a personal coach, a mentor, helping people with executive presence and just becoming the best versions of themselves. And I think so. The one chart that you see here is what our listeners are looking for today. That almost 27% of women are concerned about upskilling. So that is the first thing that we are tackling right now. So,
Yeah.
Deepika, help us with some practical steps
Yeah,
that
I'll
women
tell
can
you.
take to identify and then pursue their career goals.
To identify and pursue career goals, right? First of all, to make goals. I see a lot of women, not put their goals in place. It's very interesting. If you ask a man, they will have it down. By 35, I will be a VP here, and then I will do this here, and then I will do that there. With women, I don't think we put our goals in place, professional goals. So start by first putting your professional goals in place, and then ask yourself, what do I need to achieve these goals? What kind of upskilling do I need to achieve these goals? What do I have to ask for? What is the kind of mentoring do I need to achieve these goals, right? So a very practical plan, which says that, this is what I need to do, and this is what I will need to, this is where I need to be, and this is what I need to do to get till there, is very, very important. And do this exercise where, do a complete skill check, where what are the skills that I have, what are the skills that I'm known for, what are the go-to skills. In my organization, if there were to be go-to skills, okay, presentation banani hai, this is the person I have to go for. So what are my skills, what am I known for? Do an audit of that. And what are the skills that I lack? Do an audit of that also, because then you will work on the skills that you need. And then chart out a growth path for yourself. Don't let it just happen by chance. Chart out a growth path for yourself, and then ask for those promotions and ask for juicy projects and ask for all of that. So everything comes together. Your skilling, you have to audit on your skilling. What is it that you have? What is it that you need? Charting out your growth path or your goals, and then going out and achieving those by asking for help and support. I think that is Very, very critical.
Sure. I think, Deepika, definitely I'm taking some pointers here of my own. Because I think everywhere, sometimes it can also be that you ask, and I think women will face some resistance on the other side also. But I think that should never deter somebody from asking for more.
No, no,
Never.
not
I
at
think
all. Not at all.
this is one thing. But how about sharing a little nuggets of how to handle the reception that you get when you ask?
See, first of all, ask, because how will you know until you ask, right? So
Ask.
it could be a yes, it could be a no, right? First thing when you ask, right? Um, Go with data. Always depend upon data. So when you're asking for a promotion, when you're asking for a salary raise, or even when you're going for an interview, you're coming back to work after a break. First of all, be very prepared with data. Why you? What have you done? What have you achieved? What are the skills that you have? And never use words like I feel I can do this, I think I can do this, I can do this because, and then you share the data, and then you share whatever logic that you have. So depend upon data more than you depend upon emotions. I think that's very, very critical. When you're asking for something, always have data to back you up. Uh, Data works everywhere. Secondly, learn to create an environment when you're asking, right? Don't get emotional. We are emotional creatures. It doesn't matter. It's just something that we are. I have seen women, so it's perfectly okay. That is diversity. But having said that, create an environment. So suppose you want to talk to your team leader about a project that you want to work on, or an appraisal, or something that you want to talk. Create an environment where both your leader and that this discussion is going to happen. So set a time aside, right? Put everything down on paper. Prepare yourself. When you have to ask, create the environment. So you prepare yourself. Put everything down logically. This is going to be my conversation. These are my points. This is my data. Prepare beforehand. Do not depend upon, I will just wing it when I go. Right? So prepare everything, put it on paper, and then go and ask. Because that way you're prepared for every query, every question. You have all the data to back you up. And this runs true for interviews also. When you're going for interviews, prepare as much as possible. Prepare on how, especially if you're rejoining after a break, you are actually in competition with many, many other people. And even if the company has a diversity quota, how do you make sure that you get through? Because, they're taking a gamble with you. At the end of the day, it's a company. They also have to protect their interests. So you have to go prepared. Firstly, believe in yourself. I can do this. Secondly, how have you prepared an environment that if you come to work, your whatever reason you took a break for your child or your parents or whatever, how have you ensured that that will also, you have a system in place for that also. So you have to inspire confidence. Yeah, whenever you're speaking, the person across the table has to, you have to inspire confidence in them with all of this. Then you create an environment where chances are the reception will be more positive. In case the reception is not positive, for some reason it is not, then again, instead of wondering, ask questions. Why do you think so? Why do you think I won't be able to do this? Why do you think I should not get this? How do you think I can prepare better? What can I do to get this better? So then ask questions and then look for answers in those questions as well.
Thank you, Deepika. I think this some practical advice, I think definitely, moves the needle.
Yes.
So now I think I'm going to ask you, do you have any success stories that you can share of the women who've successfully restarted their career with the help of your coaching?
Lot. So I work with another organization. It's a community where a lot of women who've taken a break, um, you know, um, so they work with that community where we do a lot of skilling. It's called Aspire for Her. We do a lot of skilling, and I do a lot of sessions with them. And one of the things that we have been able to do is that, so what I have told these women is that, when you're coming back into the workforce, two things you need to do. One is to skill yourself, and one is to take up even smaller jobs while you're looking for work. It could be within the community, it could be an NGO, it could be a friend who's an entrepreneur, because these are people who are forever looking for work, right? And they have been so many success stories from return to work. If you go to return to work on LinkedIn, there's a page, and all of that. You will see many, many women who have joined large corporates after we've given them training for how to handle interview skills. There are organizations such as Capgemini and so many other organizations that actually have diversity agendas, which come and say that we would like to absorb women back into the workforce. HSBC, for example, I worked with the bank to do several programs where they brought in women who wanted to get back into the workforce, and we did sessions on confidence and how to speak, how to give an interview, and then they went for the interview, and several of them got hired. So yeah, there are lots of stories nowadays, lots of success stories.
Good. So, in the meantime, I'm going to ask all the listeners if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll pick them up as we go around in this discussion. So, Deepika, let's look at, can you share some insights on the future trends and opportunities for women in the workforce, especially in the context of online education and remote work?
Oh, lots. The world is very different, and particularly now after COVID, the world has opened up to remote work, right? So there is so much work that you can actually get and actually look for, which actually gives you opportunity to manage your life and your work and your personal life so much more better. But I would also say one more thing. Be open to newer careers. Sometimes, in fact, this is an opportunity to sometimes look at completely new careers, right? So look at trends, look at places where you would get absorbed faster. And also technology, for example, AI technology, and a lot of large organizations now also train you on this, so look at things that will never go out, AI, technology, to some extent digital. I think digital is one big black hole.
Yeah.
If you can get into that also, and within digital, there are so many things that you can do. Can you do social media? Can you do content writing? So there's so much to do within digital also. These are all trends. I think tech and I think social media will never ever go out of trend at all. You will always need people for that. Look at trends. Read a lot. Look at LinkedIn and ask yourself, where are people? Look at jobs. Where are people getting hired? If you have a very niche skill, upskill yourself on that as much as possible. If you don't have a niche skill and you've been out of work for a very long time, 8 years, 10 years, I coached a woman who was out of work for 18 years, then perhaps just look at a new opportunity altogether on basis your interest and basis on what the trends in the market are. So lots of opportunity nowadays. Don't close yourself to anything, and also do a lot of take up a lot of internships. Again, like a lot of students who are preparing PGTBM, etc., you also have the opportunity to look for internships and see what you would like to do, because you're coming back after a break. Come with a fresh perspective, look at internships, figure out what is it that you like, and then get into it.
Great. I think this is where there is a bit of a block, right? Some for people who've worked for a while, have gone on a break. I think when they're coming back to the workforce, they have to train their mindset on how to accept this change.
Yeah.
On See, it's very difficult to come back on the same position that you left.
Yes.
Industry would have moved. Those projects are done and over with. So if
Yeah.
how Deepika, does it how different is it for somebody who's coming back maybe just after 6 months or a
Mm.
year versus somebody coming back after five? What is that difference that you see, and how would you coach these two different people?
Will be surprised. I think the intent is more than the break itself. I have seen examples of this one woman who came back after 18 years of a break, and she's doing a brilliant job because she's so hungry for the years that she has lost. She's so hungry to make up for it that she's doing a brilliant job, and also because she's coming without any baggage whatsoever, right? I have worked with her, and I have seen, she didn't even know how to start a Zoom meeting. She had to ask her kids on how to start a Zoom meeting. I think the intent counts more. So whether you've been on a break for 6 months, a year, or you've been break for 6 years, 8 years, yes, the world will have moved on, right? In 6 months, chances are that you will be able to come back into the same role, same job. It doesn't matter so much. There will be some stuff you may have missed out on, but nowadays, largely a lot of organizations are very friendly to shorter breaks. There are,
Yeah.
they have groups that keep you updated on what is happening. Your team will keep you updated on what is happening. So 6 months is not so much. You just need to be prepared to come back with a, mindset. Um, 6, 7, 8 years more, then definitely you need to come back with a mindset that yes, I will do something, but I have the mindset to actually do it. I'm really sorry. I don't know what the problem is today. I'll just be back.
Sure, sure. I think let's take a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to ask all the listeners, guys, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so that we can pick it up with Deepika just when she comes back. In the meantime, I'm also going to tell you we have a success story joining us as well. So after we do these questions, we'll be speaking to Karobi here to tell us all about how she's grown.
I'm really
Yeah,
sorry.
no worries,
Was
Deepika.
saying that, more than anything, intent to come back and, work hard. And, I also feel that while I agree that you worked very hard for many years and now you've had to take a break, but you also have to realize, and the faster you realize that the world may have moved on, the faster you will adjust to what
Yes.
is happening in the new world. So come with that mindset. It'll be faster. You will have lesser resistance.
Yeah, I think it's more about us having that acceptance.
Yes,
That we
absolutely.
have gone through this. Let's also be open to how the world
And
has changed.
and also I feel, one should not feel any guilt about the break. No,
Yeah.
that was my priority then. This is my priority now. I don't think you should come back into the workforce or even for an interview with any kind of guilt that I took a break. You don't have to feel guilty about that at all. That was my priority. I had to do that for whatever reasons, but now I'm back and now I'm prepared to come back fully, right? So if you come with that mindset, then it works.
Deepika, how can online education help women balance
Oh,
their familiar responsibilities and their career advancement?
lot, lot. Please invest in online education. There is so much really good stuff out there to upskill yourself, and you can do it in the comfort of your home. And at the same time, you will also have other people. So there will be a cohort. So without stepping out in your own time, at your own pace, you are able to, skill yourself and educate yourself. And you should do this not just to come back into the workforce, but it should be a continuous activity. I think it is a boon. I think it is a boon. And there are so many things that you can do. So it's not just, a domain skill. You can pick up small courses and learn so much. That it's just so much that you can do. If you want to do a small course in writing, for example, just to help you to understand structure of writing, because you know that you will be writing a lot of mails. You just want to brush up on the presentation skills, or you just want to brush up on your writing, or you want to learn a little bit about digital. Just add a new little thing to yourself. um Sitting in the comfort of your home, you can just learn so many new things. Please use it as much as possible.
Deepika, can you walk us through some of the practical strategies for selecting the right degree program which can align with career
Do
goals?
research. First of all, like I said earlier, your goals, you know
Yeah.
your goals really count. So put some goals in place. What is it that you want to do? Right. So that is essential. Now, around that, you have to figure out what are the skills that you need. There will be primary skills. Those are skills that are absolutely essential. And then there will be your other secondary skills also that are also essential, right? So you have to ask yourself, to do this job well, or to be in this industry, or to be in this kind of a role, what is it that I need? So first ask yourself that, make a list of the skills that you need in the list of these courses. Then do research, obviously, because there are a lot of courses also. It's not like, there are a lot of places giving you courses also. So do your full research, ask for people, do an internet research, and then based on that, select the programs that you want to take and then go ahead with it. But you must do your research. But before that, ask yourself, what are the skills that I need? What are my primary skills that I need to update? And what are my secondary skills also that I need to update?
Deepika, I think we have a very interesting question, and it has been asked anonymously. And the person says, I work at a company where my boss favors a female employee over everyone else. My boss is a woman too, to a point that it is evident to everyone. How do I cope with that?
Ask yourself first why. Be very rational about this. I want you to ask yourself, why is this happening? Um, and there could be many reasons for this, right? One is that a lot of women want to mentor younger women. It's a way of championing women because a lot of women also understand that women have it harder. It is true. Today on LinkedIn, someone had written that, but women don't have it harder. Women do have it harder, because they have to deal with work-life balance and then they fall off the workforce and then they try to come back in the workforce, right? So a lot of women want to pull other women up. It's a thing, right? That is one. The second is maybe the girl really has something that the boss is being able to see. Maybe there is, see, you have to remember, um, bosses favor people, but they also see at the end of the day, you are as good as your team, right? So if your boss is doing this, then obviously they are also going to benefit because you somebody in your team does really well, you do very well, right? So that
Right.
is how it is. It always works as a team. So maybe she's really good at something in the boss space, being able to see something in that. So also track that. In I'm sorry to say this, but sometimes in office, we lose objectivity. It's look at it with objective, and it's perfectly okay. Maybe simply she just has a simple soft corner for the girl. It could also be that you can deal with all of this. You can deal with all of this. You do your work. You do your job. It is not a comparison at all. Who's being favored? What is being done? You should you should look at your, what are you gaining? What are you adding? How much are you learning? So look at that. But these could be the many reasons why also she's being
Yeah.
favored. Yeah.
Deepika, I think I'll add one point, right? I handled a team for a while. I think one thing that I've seen is no, it is managers will not favor somebody just because they like them, right? A manager or an employee, they are both working in an
Yes.
organization
And
with the
together.
same agenda,
Yes,
growth, right?
absolutely.
And a manager gets nothing if they favor a person who is not actually doing a job, right?
Exactly. That's what I said. She
So,
is also depending upon her. She has her
yes,
own, goals, and this girl is helping her to achieve her goals. That's the whole point.
yes, I think the idea is to not maybe just for a second, when you look at it objectively, remove the bias that you might have,
Yes,
right? Because
absolutely.
at the end of the day, nobody is married to a company, right? Everybody is married to their growth wherever they are. So I'll just tell you this, a manager will never favor somebody just because they like them unless they are actually a good worker.
One more thing I want to add to this. Align your goals to your manager's goals. That is also
Agreed.
a strategy because their organization will have goals. Okay. But how are you understanding? And this is not for the person who asked this question, this is in general. It's a good idea because you need to work as a team. So you have to ask yourself, what are my manager's pain points? Am I solving any of those pain points, right? What is the target? What is this person struggling with? Is there a new client that this person is struggling with? Yeah, so you have to align yourself with your manager's goals because that's the way the whole organization then moves forward, right? So that's
Yeah,
how it actually works.
right. I'm going to come back to another question that I have for you. And this is a question of relevance also. With the kind of job security issues that we are seeing in the post COVID world, how can women uh, create a sense of security for themselves in the workforce?
It's a scary world out there nowadays, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Stay relevant, of course. Keep skilling yourself. Also, there are certain things that we don't think about, but build strong networks. I think I would say that first of all. This is something again that women don't do, but in challenging times, it is your networks that will come in handy, right? So I could give you gyan on, relevance and skill, and that is very important. But I think nowadays what is most important is to also have a network in place. Who will you call when you have a challenge? Who can help you? And generally just build a network without even thinking of who can you call. So I think as of yesterday, start building a network inside and outside your organization, inside and outside your industry. Very, very, very important. The larger your network, and not everybody in your network will be, you know, of the same relevance or stature. There'll be some people you speak to once in 6 months. There'll be some people you speak to once in 1 week, But I think it's critical to start working on a network, which is what a lot of women don't do. The other thing I would say is take mentoring from seniors on how to navigate your careers and your your the work that you do. So that is also very, very critical, right? So and be visible. I think what women tend to do is they do their work and then they go home, you know
Yeah.
so I'm good at my work and that's it. But I think you also need to be visible. You need to create your own brand. You need to be visible on LinkedIn platforms like LinkedIn, for example. So networking, being visible, taking mentoring, apart from, of course, the usual stuff that you do to stay relevant, which is work hard, align, your goals, keep upskilling yourself, all of that, yes. But these are three things additionally that I would say are very, very critical, particularly the networking bit. The more people you know, the better it is.
Definitely, because I think networks might have been an underrated exercise earlier, but it is definitely very relevant now.
Yes.
All right, I have another question here from a listener, and they're asking, it has been difficult for me to concentrate at my workplace being a new mother. I keep thinking about my child, which drops my productivity at times.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So what suggestion would you give somebody like that?
Two things, and two very different things. One is that I was speaking to a girl the other day, and she told me something which I had not thought of, but she was very practical about it. She said, I'm in that phase right now where I've decided to slow down. For the next 2, 3 years till my child grows up, I've decided to slow down, and I've spoken to my manager about it. In the sense, she said, rather than do a shoddy job at work and pretend everything is okay, I have decided to actually ask for a couple of projects which will require lesser time from me. And
Yeah.
she did very honestly. Now, it could have been dangerous also because your boss could have thought that she's not going to, but she did this honestly. I'm just sharing an anecdote with you. She did this. She said, I'm going to slow down for the next two. And I'm here and I love my work and I will continue to be very, very productive. But the next 2 years, I just want to slow down slightly. That's one way of looking at it, right? You have to find your comfort zone. The other tougher way to do it also is that you learn to prioritize, right? And I know it is tough. It is tough with a new child at home, and you will constantly feel the guilt. You will constantly feel the you want to be with the child, and you constantly worry. I think you just need to learn to prioritize that at this point, I will do this, and at this, when I get home, I will do that. There's a technique called the Pomodoro method, right? The Pomodoro method is it helps you to focus, right? It's very simple. You tell yourself, I will do deep focus work for 25 minutes, and then I will give myself a reward after 25 minutes, right? So try that also, that I will work. I will not think about the baby for 25 minutes. I will focus, take my meeting, whatever. And then I will reward myself by either making a phone call or checking on her or whatever, right? So that's a great way to find a solution to something that you know is going to trouble you, right? So try and discipline yourself that 25 minutes I will not, and then I will reward myself by, calling home or whatever you have to do, right? And then again, I will walk for 25 minutes, and then again, I will reward myself by doing this. Try and put some discipline in the method. That is what I would suggest.
Thank you. I think that was a lovely answer to this question. And I think even I have suffered this. The
Everyone goes through this. You have to bide your time and,
Yes,
hide it.
exactly. I think it's a mix of patience and ease.
But I would suggest you don't let go. You know,
Definitely.
like working and you have goals for yourself, which you have a purpose, then quietly just tide this time over. That is what I would say. Don't let go of your work, or, try not to, just try to tide it over.
Yeah. All right. At this point, I'm going to bring in a special guest who has successfully completed an online degree course with UPS Online to share her experience with her. Karobi, uh, welcome, Karobi Pegu. Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah. Can you please tell us a little about yourself and about your journey?
Yeah, my name is Korobi Pegu. I have done engineering from Assam Engineering College. My background is electrical engineering. I completed my engineering in 2008. Then after that, through campus recruitment, I was recruited to Vedanta Group. And I got offer letter from Bharat Aluminium Company, which is situated in Chhattisgarh. So I was looking after this operations and maintenance as well as projects works of the smelter plant. So it was my experience. There was. Purely smelter related, means aluminium related. Now, after that, I again joined Oil India Limited in the year 2011 as executive trainee. Then I was posted in the electrical department of Oil India Limited. I worked in the substations and as well as planning department of electrical department. And now I'm posted in pipelines of Oil India Limited, pipeline fields. And I have around 13 years of experience in Oil India Limited and 2.5 years in Vedanta Group. So total 15.5 years experience in engineering background. And
Thank you,
recently I have
Karobi.
completed online UPS online program in MBA Oil and Gas Management from UPES. So that was a very great learning experience.
I'm so glad you're saying that, Karubi. So tell us what inspired you to go for online education at this point. You've got massive experience and you've been working with very good brands in your field. So
Yeah.
why did you think that this was the time to go for an online education?
Yeah. Um, Actually, when you progress in your career, you have to be means you should have up-to-date business insights. Okay, and for that, MBA is a must. For managerial to enhance your managerial skill, you have to do MBA. And some of the online UPS online MBA provides convenience of remote learning, cost savings, ability to access diverse resources, and enhance one skill without disrupting your career. And it also provides flexibility in balancing between your work and study. So these are some of the motivating factors for online MBA.
So, Karobi, what advice would you give other women who are thinking of upskilling?
Yeah,
And how was your experience with UPS online as well?
okay. I would definitely recommend online MBA to other women also because it helps by doing online MBA, one can enhance career prospects and it provides ample opportunities for leadership roles and professional growth in his or her company. So I would definitely recommend online MBA. Like online MBA also facilitates networking with professionals globally, creating valuable connections for future endeavor. This is some of the advice or recommendation I would give to women who would be pursuing MBA online. And my experience, I have taken the subject of MBA in oil and gas management, and MBA in oil and gas management provides specialized knowledge and skills tailored to the energy sectors, preparing for leadership roles in companies. It typically covers topics like energy economics, project management, risk analysis, sustainability, which is a very important topic in nowadays, and regulatory issues specific to oil and gas industry. So it was a very great learning experience.
Thank you, Karubi, for joining us and sharing your journey and your insights with us. Your story is inspiring, and I'm so glad that you could join us and demonstrate the power of online education on how you have 15 years of experience, yet
Yeah.
it is always a good idea to learn more.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Karobi.
Thank you, Ankita.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to take the conversation back to Deepika. Deepika, we have another question that we should look at. So the question is, if we have two choices, one is career and the second is to get married, how to choose out of the two? Deepika, you're mute. You're on mute.
Why can't you do both?
I
I wish
agree.
it wasn't a choice, So, I'll say something to you. Ideally, if you can do both, you should do both, because we can do both. There is no reason why we shouldn't be able to do both. It's very important to not just have a career, to also have purpose, right? And I know it is a choice. I know everybody has a choice, and I know that career is also a choice. But I just feel, I am of that opinion that having an income of your own, and having a purpose of your own, and having just the ability to grow, network with people, it's a lot of joy. And if you look at your job as not a job, if you have this choice, actually you're very, very lucky. If you look at your job not as something that funds you, but you can do it because you really enjoy it, you must do it. It's important to have a purpose in life, and you can choose what you want to do, right? You can choose what field you want to be in. You can choose how much pressure you want. You can choose all of that, obviously. But I would highly recommend that you work, and I think it's very important to first work, take a taste of that, and then get married. you know Important to do that, because it gives you independence, it gives you an income of your own, and then you can always get married if you find the right person. And then you decide, do you want to continue
Continue.
with both, or do you
Mhm.
want to maybe make a choice? But first, I would say, find your own 2 feet, find yourself first. Which you will find when you start working. You will find hidden strengths, you will find friends, you will find skills. So start working first, and then think about. That would be my advice from my life lessons, and generally I would say that would be my advice to you.
Deepika, thank you so much for today's lovely session. And thank you for answering all these questions with so much grace and so much focus, giving us a couple of ways to handle our stress, overcome doubts, plan our careers. I think it was a lovely session. And I think what we all need to remember is, with the right mindset and tools, we can break through any barrier and
Yes.
achieve our goals. So,
Yes.
Deepika, any concluding words from you? And then we will close this session.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about women at work. I feel, for many reasons, and I feel that one, of course, is financial independence, and I think that's very important. The other also is purpose. I feel that, and I've seen this. I am at an age now where I have a lot of friends who gave up work because of many reasons, and which is why I was telling you that tide it over. Because what happens is your children will grow, and your husband will have moved, in his work as well, and you want to, have purpose in life. So stick it out, and do something, have some purpose. You will have, if nothing else, you will have such interesting conversations about your own life, which is what I feel. So work, have a purpose, and be financially independent. It's important.
I think those are lovely words to end this evening. Thank you so much, Deepika, and thank you
Thank you so
everyone
much
who
for
tuned
having
in.
me. Thank you.
And I think we should have a conversation about this again soon, maybe in a couple of months. Yeah.
Done.
Thank you
Done.
so much, Deepika, and good evening to everyone. Thank you. Thank you. We're closing the
Bye bye.
session now. Bye.
Bye.